Hello and welcome to the autoX show. Now SUVs are taking over the world, but if you really want to make a statement, what should you choose? A luxury sedan or a luxury SUV? The answer coming right up. We also take a really special road trip to celebrate 72 years of independence. But first, here are a pair of BMW flagships, the facelifted 7 Series and brand new X7.
If you were looking to buy a car or specifically buy a BMW in the older days, choice was relatively simple. If you were looking for a sedan, you had 3 options to work with. You had the BMW 3 Series, the 5 Series and the range topper, the BMW 7 Series. Then the SUV rush came along and choice became a lot more complicated. You had 3 more SUVs to choose from now, the X1, the X3 and the X5. But as more niche marketing, more segments have opened up, the lineup of cars in today's car makers, the amount of models available is mind-boggling. It's no different for BMW, to the extent that today they have 2 top-of-the-line cars that you can choose from if you want the ultimate BMW. The sedan, of course, is the traditional BMW 7 Series. That was what everybody aspired to if you were a BMW fan. But this is brand new. This is the new BMW X7, the maximum SUV. So if you're out in the market for the ultimate BMW to make your own style statement, we're going to try and find out which of the 2 work best for you. One of the most controversial aspects of new BMWs, however, has been their design. Now you see, when you look at the 7 Series in profile overall, it's actually quite a pleasing looking car. It's got the right proportions, it looks athletic, it looks toned down, and with this big 21-inch wheels, this car has quite a lot of presence. But there is a problem, and that is this, the grille. Now you see, for decades, the double kidney grille has been a BMW trademark. It's been a hallmark of their design. And with this new 7 Series and the X7, which I'll come to later, they've really enlarged the grille. And to the extent that it's really begun to dominate the design of the car. Am I a fan? No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I think it looks quite hideous and I would like a much smaller grille. But as market researchers at BMW say, this is what sells in America and China, some of the biggest markets. How will it do in India? I'm not so sure. But I think this is going to be a polarizing aspect of the car. Otherwise, I think the rear end works much better, and let's have a look at that. Compared to the design of the front end, like I said earlier, the rear works much better. There's quite a bit of chrome, but it's been really well integrated. It's quite subdued that way, like the big exhausts and that chrome strip running there, that single big chrome strip running above the lights, and the darkened lights. So it's a nice contrast that works quite well. The car looks quite balanced. But also one important aspect, the car that we're driving is not the usual 730LD. That's the 7 Series that sells the biggest in India. What we're driving is the 745LE. This is the hybrid, the plug-in hybrid version. So one more important aspect of the car that you need to see, and I'll show it to you. As you would know, a plug-in hybrid has a battery power plant that supplements the primary engine and gives it better efficiency and range. But since it's a plug-in hybrid, it needs to be charged. This is the charging port of the 7 Series. You can use it to charge the car on a slow charger overnight, say it takes about 9 to 12 hours. Or you could use a fast charger, the BMW wall box, which will take you about 4 to 5 hours. Now, if you thought the double kidney grille on the 7 Series was large, well, the X7 is setting new standards with the grille, which is even larger. I mean, it's huge. It's not something that I ever imagined in my 30-odd years of seeing on a BMW such an oversized grille. But to be honest, given that the X7 is a clean sheet design and not a facelift like the 7, grille actually is far better integrated into the whole design. Overall, if you look at the design, it's their flagship SUV. It's huge. It's a 7-seater, 5.1 meters in length, and it has the presence to show you. I mean, just look at the roof height of the thing. I'm almost 6 feet tall. I mean, I'm slightly shorter than 6, but yeah, the door opens at my height or slightly higher. So it's got the proportions, it's got the road presence with that grille, with these big wheels, and the whole, I think the design works very well. Now, if only had BMW integrated a smaller dial, I think I might have liked it a little more. But given its presence, I especially like the rear end. It's clean, it's simple, nothing oversized here, even the chrome is quite undertoned. It serves its purpose, and the X7 looks purposeful, stands out, and if you're going to be driving the range-topping SUV of the BMW range, it is making the statement that you want it to make. Now we've looked at what the design aspects of the X7 and the 7 Series are, and I'm sitting in the seat in which most customers of these cars won't spend much time in, but we're autoX, driving appeal of any product, of any machine that we are reviewing or thinking of buying is a very important aspect. And in that, for the longest time, the 7 Series has been the benchmark when it comes to luxury sedans as far as driving appeal is concerned. Despite its size, despite its weight, despite everything, it's still a phenomenal car to drive. And with the 745 LE, I'm happy to report not much has changed. Since it's a plug-in hybrid, the 745 LE is powered by a 3-litre straight-six engine, turbocharged of course. It's paired with a lithium-ion battery and electric motor. So what that does is, this is an X-Drive 7 Series. Combined, they have about 384 horsepower. 600 Nm of torque, that's a big figure. That's as much as the diesel engine in the X7 produces. What that means? Well, 0 to 100 comes up in 5.3 seconds, top speed 250 km an hour. Only on battery, and this is a serious plug-in hybrid, so only on battery in ideal conditions on full charge, you can drive up to, BMW claims you can drive up to 53 km at speeds of up to 140 km an hour. The battery, like I said earlier, can be charged via a standard charger for about 8 to 12 hours. Via a fast charger, which is a medium fast charger, which is the BMW wall box, which is about 4 to 6 hours. Now that obviously the major push there is efficiency. But what this also means that this is not a run-of-the-mill 7 Series. It's fast, it's quick, and that instant torque, that really changes things. You can really go fast on the highways like I just did. And the 7, like earlier, still feels a very cohesive product to drive. It's fast, it's quick, it really responds to your inputs. The steering has a little bit of feel. The sport mode really accelerates the throttle inputs, the steering inputs, and overall, as a driver's choice in its segment, it's still the best car. But the real test in this comparison that we're doing between the two flagships is going to be the rear seat of the 7 Series. So I'm going to get in there and get a feel of what this 7 Series offers to the real customer, the guy who's going to pay for it and sit in the back. Of course, when you look at it as a luxury product, the rear seat of the 7 Series is an experience in itself. You get acres of legroom, you get some fantastic leather. This is an individual design edition, which means it's been customized by BMW. So you get this quilted finished leather, slightly off-white shade, you get this cloth roof lining. You also have a lot of tech to play with. So you've got these lovely screens, aircraft style screens that give you the navigation details. You can check what song or media you're playing. You can check what setting of the car is like, and a lot of things. But the party trick of this, and I think for what a lot of people pay a lot of money for, is this. You press a button, the front passenger seat slides forward, bows down, and your seat goes into sleep mode. What that does, and this is akin to flying in a first class seat on a fancy airline, and like the first class cabin in the aircraft, you can put your feet up, relax, enjoy the massage that your chair gives you, maybe enjoy a newspaper, maybe check on your emails, maybe reply to some emails on your laptop, maybe finish some work. So that is probably the biggest appeal of a long wheelbase 7 Series for a customer. The other thing is that it's a really comfortable car to be in, and of course the quality. But can the X7 beat that with its rear seat? Let's find out right now. When you get into the BMW X7, I think the first impression, if you're used to BMW products, is of a feeling that you get when you enter your home. It's all similar, it's a little different, but it feels very, very familiar. And even though The 7 Series is right up there, their flagship in the works. I think they've made certain improvements over the 7 in the X7 that really sort of reflect. The cabin feels very high quality, especially in the digital aspects, like the central multimedia touchscreen. It's bigger, the graphics are more crisper, the 360-degree cameras around the car, seem to be higher resolution. The digital displays are another sort of a different touch to BMWs. Some love it, some hate it, to be honest. Once I've gotten used to it, they seem absolutely fine to me, so they're not a concern. I love this matte finish wood that they've done on the interior. I think that looks fantastic. Even in this carbon black shade, it really comes out well. One controversial aspect of the interior, like the grille outside, they've done this high quality cut glass kind of a finish on the gear lever and on the multimedia control knob. To me, it seems a little tacky, it seems a little try too hard, but some of my colleagues absolutely love it, so I think it boils down to individual taste. Now, one thing that I was not expecting much from the BMW X7 is the driving aspect of it. You know, this, like I said earlier, over 5.1 meters long, big, heavy, 7-seater. And I thought, you know, how could it be a BMW that drives well? And yes, that's where I completely shocked. Even with the 3-liter engine that we're driving, the diesel straight 6, 265 horsepower, 620 Nm of torque, it accelerates from 0 to 100, and that annoying bong is not my phone going off. This is the new 80 km/h speed warning that the government of India has ensured that every car has 80 km/h once, 120 km/h. It keeps repeating itself. Anyway, coming back to the engine, 265 horsepower, 620 Nm. Even this big beast goes from 0 to 100 in 7 seconds. The all-wheel drive helps, of course, but the big thing is that 620 Nm of torque is available from flat 1500 RPM, just above idle. So the car flies, the 8-speed gearbox works very well, and I'm really happy to see that the BMW engineers have paid special emphasis on the steering of the X7. So you finally got another BMW which has true steering feel back. You can feel the road. It's a really strange and an old feeling, and I'm really happy to see a steering that gives me accurate feedback, gives me the texture of the road. That's really enjoyable. But I digress. Again, we were here discussing which flagship would be ideal to buy, and I'm ashamed to say the X7, even in the 30D version that we are driving, the diesel, is exactly as good as the 745 LE. It's fantastic to drive. The big glass house really helps. And I think the driving appeal then is there's not much difference between this and the 7. So it boils down to 2 or 3 factors. 1, I need to get in the back seat of both cars, which I'm going to do very soon. 2, the kind of equipment they offer. And 3, the price. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to try and answer all of those questions and give you a clear-cut answer of which of the 2 flagships is my favorite. Now, given the small, access point that is between the rear seat and the third row, getting in and out into the third row is not that easy. But as you can see, even its full reclined position, with my seat position in front of me, I can still fit my knees in. There's a bit of space. My feet are still fine. And yes, the floor is a little high, so my knees are a little raised. But if it were short journeys for an hour or 2 or something, I don't think I would be complaining. 3 adults? No way. But 2 adults, 2 on this, 2 on that row, 6 adults, full size. I think the X7 is the best option that BMW has ever made. So it's decision time. We've got 2 flagship BMWs. I tried them from the driver's seat, from the passenger seat, tried all the features, tried the practicality. Which one would I choose? Well, it's a tough decision, but I'll lay it out very simply. The 7 has its strengths, especially the driving appeal. It's still a classic looking car, minus that grille. And the rear seat is something else. That airline style seat experience with the massaging function, the space, the opulence is phenomenal. But let's be honest, it's a sedan in India. On our bad roads, there's limited use for a sedan, especially that big a luxury sedan. Also, even the base model of a 7 in India is 1.22 crores ex-showroom. Hold that thought. With the X7, the pluses are you have enough space for 6 full-size adults. It's an SUV, it's big, it's butch, in your face, it's new. So you obviously make a statement as somebody who's got the latest flagship vehicle from BMW. That works to its advantage. Yes, the boot space is very limited with all the seats up, but I think that is something that depends on a user to user basis. But the biggest factor I think that really turns the screws in favor of the X7 is the fact that X7 base is under 99 lakhs. That's a difference over 30 lakhs versus the 7. So as much as I love the 7 from my heart, if I were to pick from my brain and pick a car, or rather a flagship BMW that I can use every day in various conditions in India with full practicality, it would have to be the X7.
Now don't go anywhere, because when we come back, Jared heads out on an epic ride to the Wagah Border. Welcome back to the AutoX show. Now to celebrate the spirit of freedom and to honor our fallen soldiers, Jared heads out on an epic road trip indeed, from India Gate to the Wagah Border.
"72 years ago, a young nation's struggle for independence came to an end. Against all odds, hundreds of millions of people from different ethnicities, culture, and religious backgrounds came together to fight for freedom. And they won. The Republic of India was born out of a burning desire to be an independent nation free of its oppressors. And now, after 72 years of self-governance, India is one of the most powerful countries in the world. To celebrate our Independence Day this year, we're going to ride. Why? Because nothing else can express the emotion of freedom and liberty as well as when you're riding down the open road on a nice motorcycle. And to do that, we've partnered up with TVS, which is one of India's leading bike manufacturers. In fact, TVS has been around for a very long time, and they are a perfect example of the success of the Indian country that we now live in. Well, it's another beautiful day of freedom here in India, and we're here at the India Gate War Memorial. Now, this war memorial has now been reconstructed to be much bigger. In fact, this pays tribute to all the fallen soldiers who sacrificed their lives for us today. So here's the plan. We're going to ride the TVS Apache RR310 from the India Gate War Memorial all the way to the Wagah Border. And we're going to do this to pay tribute and honor to India's freedom fighters, both past and present, because without them, we would not be able to enjoy the freedom and liberties that we have today. And why have we chosen the Apache RR310? Well, first of all, I'm a proud owner of the bike, and it's one of the best sports touring motorcycles in India. It's also made right here in the country, and it's fantastic to look at and fantastic to ride. So let's get this show on the road. Vande Mataram. Wagah is about 500 kilometers from Delhi, bordering Lahore in Pakistan. The infrastructure in India has become significantly improved, and the roads from Delhi all the way to Wagah are beautiful, so I'm looking forward to the ride. TVS's heritage dates back to 1911, when its founder established the first ever bus service in Madurai. Today, that business has expanded in many different sectors of industry, and TVS is now a global force to be reckoned with. TVS is a true example of an Indian company that has overcome obstacles to become successful and contribute to our nation's growth and prosperity. So we're just about halfway there now. We're just outside Jalandhar, and I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about this bike now. TVS, as you know, has come a long way, and their success story is a testament to India's success story. They are now a global force to be reckoned with in terms of manufacturing motorcycles. They've teamed up with BMW, and what they have is this beautiful new product, the TVS Apache RR310. Now, this bike is very special to me because I'm actually the owner of the previous generation. This one right here is the new generation, and it's got the slipper clutch added into it, which makes it a lot nicer to ride on the track every now and then. But this bike really is a perfect sports touring motorcycle. When I first rode the bike, when they launched it, I was blown away with the way that it could handle itself and the way it was just so comfortable for even a guy of my size to ride it. And this product that they have right now is really a global product, and it's fantastic in every way you can imagine. From the way that it handles around twisty sections, if you want to go to the track, and even on the highway. Now we've been riding on the highway with the Grand Trunk Road from Delhi all the way here, and we're heading towards the Wagah border. And it's more or less a very straightforward road. There are no twisty sections. It's a very nice, smooth highway the entire way, but this bike feels so calm and composed all the time. So yes, TVS, we're very happy to have them be a part of this lovely ride that we're doing to the Wagah border to celebrate India's independence. And this bike truly speaks for all of India as a fantastic product and the kind of capabilities that we now have to make stuff like this. Wow guys, we're almost here, just 2 more kilometers. We've covered around 500 kilometers and we're almost by the Indo-Pak border. Super excited to go check out the Wagah ceremony. This is the last stretch right here and we're gonna go have some fun. The Wagah border ceremony is a sight to behold. And of course, don't forget that the historic gates at the Wagah border opened recently when an Indian hero, fighter pilot Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman, returned to Indian soil. His nerve, courage and composure is an example for us all. After an easy and smooth ride through the beautiful countryside of Punjab, we reached the Wagah border. The atmosphere immediately became very patriotic. People from all over the country had come to witness the grand ceremony of the lowering of the flags that both India and Pakistan have been continuously following since 1959. People of all ages with their faces painted in the colors of the Indian flag were present. The entire place was packed to the brim. People were bursting with joy, enthusiasm and patriotism. Some were smiling and cheering, others dancing in true Indian fashion, and still others singing patriotic songs. So that was a fantastic experience that we just had at the Wagah border. The excitement, the passion from the people as well as the army and the border security force was truly unbelievable. We had goosebumps the entire time. There was so much positive energy there. And that just goes to show who sacrificed their life and fought for the freedom of this country really can say that, you know what, it was worth it. India is a young country. Yes, it does have a lot of problems still, but we are still a very successful country. We've come so far and we've become a force to reckon with in the world. But let's also honor those people and let's be better citizens. Let's all join together. Let's all become a better nation. Let's move forward together. And you know what? We really hope we can do that because India is still young. We've still got a lot to learn, but I'm sure we will get there someday.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you for joining us. Remember to follow us on social media for your daily dose of all things automotive. And remember, it's chaos out there, so always buckle up and wear your helmets. We'll see you again next weekend on the autoX show.